where Esav comes from the field and he's famished and he's about to pass out, to the point when he asks for the lentil soup, he can't even refer to it by articulating what it is. He just says, give me some of that red stuff. Odom azeh. Yaakov immediately says, the way it reads on a very superficial level, he has Esav in a vulnerable position. He says, Michor Chayom, as Bechoros Chali, at this moment, you want it, you have to sell me your birthright. And he agrees. So Rashi himself cites the Midrash. L'fi she'avoda b'bechoros, Omer Yaakov, ein rosh zeh kedai she'yikarev la'kodesh baruch hu. That it's inappropriate, unacceptable, that this evil person should have any relevance to Hashem. For this man, having that level of relationship with Hashem is a disgrace. It's profaning the holiest. Now, when the Torah tells us he came oyev min asodeh, and he expressed himself as he did, where did he come from? So the Chazal tell us, B'oseh yom over chamish averos. That day he committed 5 cardinal sins: adultery, murder, many other things. And now he's such a glutton, he can't even articulate the food item that he's referring to. So Yaakov says, this person, he should be the Kohen, which initially the Kohen was the Bechor, under no circumstance. He'll do whatever he can to take the Bechor away from him, not because he wanted it for himself, but rather that he should not be the Kohen, because him being the Kohen, because he was the firstborn, would be a disgrace to Hashem. It was the ultimate desecration of Hashem. Okay, so the way Chazal is quoting the Midrash. So when Chazal are explaining this, it's not because Yaakov wanted it for himself. It was for self-interest. It's purely selfless sacrifice for Hashem that he will not allow this to take place. Okay? Now, we find something interesting. When Yitzhak gives the bracha to Yaakov, believing that it's Esav, turn to Shishi. This is Perek Chav Zayin, Pasuk Chav Ches. V'yitin l'cho Elokim mital ha'shamayim mishmani oretz. Elokim will give you from the dew of the heaven and from the fat of the land, v'rov dogan v'sirosh, an abundance of grain and wine. So Rashi again cites the Midrash. Why over here did Yitzchak use the appellation Elokim? Why not V'yitei Lucha Hashem? Why Elokim? So Rashi explains Ma'u Elokim Bidin, meaning this is the attribute of justice. Im roi loch yitei loch. If you're worthy, you'll receive it. Vim lav lo yitei loch. And if you're not worthy, you're not going to receive it. Aval Esav, when he gave the bracha to Esav, Oma mishmani ortz yimushavecha. He said to him, it's not contingent on anything, but rather you will have from the fat of the land. Bein tzaddik, bein rosha yitei loch. Whether you're worthy, you're a tzaddik or rosha, you're going to receive the material. Umenu lomad Shlomo, and Shlomo Melch, he learned from Yitzchak. K'shoza Abayis seated tfilosa, when he built the Beis Hamikdash, the way he set up the structure of the tefillah, Shubal Emuna, Yisro Shubal Emuna, Umatzdik Sadin, a Jew who has belief in God and he understands who God is, Umatzdik Vadin, and therefore he validates justice and he accepts it. And God is vindicated, regardless of whatever the judgment is. Lo Yikra Lo Tagar, he's not going to come with a claim against Hashem. Leficha Nosato Lish Kechol Drochov, Asher Tedis Levavo. Each Jew will get what he deserves, whether it's positive or negative. Avol Nochrig, but the non-Jew, Mechus Emona, because the non-Jew is lacking in belief. Leficha Omar, Ato Tishma Shemayim, Vasis Kol Asher Yikrei Lecha Nochri. Give the non-Jew, when he comes to Beis Hamikdash to pray, whatever he asks. Bein roy, bein shen roy. Tainlo, whether he's worthy or not, give him whatever he's asking for. Why? Kadesh lo yikro alecho tagor. Because otherwise he'll come with a claim. Because in his own eyes, he believes he's worthy. Therefore, the non-Jew, worthy or not worthy, just give it to him. The Jew, because he has this level of belief, understands if he's not receiving, he's not deserving, therefore only give him if he's deserving. Who did he learn from? He learned from Yitzchak. Because Yitzchak said, Elokim. When it came to Yaakov, it's Elokim. That's, if it's, you're deserving, that's the attribute of justice. Yes, if not, not. Okay? So there's an obvious question. Beyond obvious. At this point, when he's giving Yaakov the bracha, who does he think Yaakov is? He believes this is Esav, correct? So if he believes this is Esav, why is he saying Elokim? He should say it's not contingent on anything. As later when he knew Esav was, after Yaakov took the bracha, then he says Esav regardless. It's not contingent on anything. But at this moment, he believes this is Esav. Yaakov is impersonating Esav, and yet he says Elokim. So how do you understand just simply what it's all about?
Well, didn't he think Esav was a good guy at this point?
It doesn't make a difference. But he knew he wasn't Yaakov. He knew he wasn't Yaakov.
Right, he thought he was Esav. He thought Esav was the one who was deserving of the bracha.
I understand, but he knew he wasn't the Baal Amuna that Yaakov was. But still, even later, he never knew Esav was a Russia. Didn't know Esav was a Russia. To have that level, to be that, you have to be at that special level. He knew Esav was not at that special level. Even later, when he gave him the bracha, he didn't know he was a Russia. Yet Yitzchak never knew Esav was a Russia.
Yeah, but maybe the partnership. Is
good.
That has to be Elokim.
How do we know that he didn't know that Esav was a good guy at this point? How do we know?
Because if yesterday, wait. Good question. Avrami always asks good questions. Yesterday, when it says Yitzchak oives Esav, it says also Esav, and he knew that Yaakov was much more special than Esav, because Yaakov is the man who's sitting and learning continuously. Esav is the man of the world, is the physical being. It means, although he was not the spiritual person, he also loved him. That's how the Siforno learned. Right? But there was never a question who is the more spiritual of the two. Yaakov invests his whole life in learning. Yaakov is referred to as Tam Yoshiv Holim. There's no question. Yaakov is the spiritual person. So the way the Siforno learns, I mean, this is what I think Alan was alluding to. We find Moshe gave the bracha to Yisachar, to Zvulun. What did he say to Zvulun in Zosa bracha? Smach Zvulun b'tzeisecha v'Yisachar b'olecha. Why should you rejoice when you go out on the business journey, on the sea voyage? Why should you rejoice? Meaning that you're going to succeed? Because Yisachar is b'olecha. Because the objective is to support Yisachar who's studying Torah. But if Yisachar wouldn't be studying Torah, there's no smach, there's no rejoicing. Because the basis for you to succeed is because you're going to support Yisachar. So Esav, he believes this is Esav. But what is the value of Esav? There's a partnership here. Esav is the Zvulun because he's the man of the world. He's responsible for the material to provide for Yaakov, who's the Yisachar. But that's only if Yaakov is deserving. If Yaakov is towing the line, if he is who he's supposed to be. So therefore it's Elokim. Even though he's giving the bracha to Esav, but what's Esav? What's the value of Esav? Esav's value is Yaakov. So this bracha I'm giving you to succeed is contingent on Elokim, because that's Yaakov. But once it was revealed that Yaakov is the one who deserves the bracha, now he knows Esav is not representing Yaakov. He's giving the bracha to Esav himself. Now it's been confirmed to him, he's not meant to be the Bechor. He's not meant to be connected to the spirituality of the future. If that's the case, he gives him the bracha, it's not contingent on anything, therefore he does not say Elokim for that reason. Okay? That's the way I understood it. At this point, he believes Esav is Zvulun because of the partnership. When he realized Hashem doesn't want it, he doesn't understand why, but Yaakov is responsible for his own material. And that's why Yaakov created his own partnership. Yisach and Zvulun, among his own children. So now Esav is what? Is unrelated to the spirituality. He says, Achar b'chotichya. Once he's Achar b'chotichya, now the broch is what? It's not contingent on deserving, undeserving, because that means he's not at that special level to be denied, even if he's not deserving. Therefore, it's not Elokim any longer. That's how I understood it. Okay? Okay, let's go a little further. Now, we find that when he realizes, when Esav comes back, and Yaakov says, Yitzchak says to Esav, I've given it away. I have nothing left for you. So he cries and he wails, and he gives him a brocha. Posuk Lamates. Vayan Yitzchak Oviv, Vayomer Elov, Hine Mishmani Oretz Yeh Moshavecho, Umital Hashem Me'ol. Okay? So here, this is what Rashi was referring to. It's not contingent. From the fat of the land should be your location, your dwelling, and from the heaven and from the dew of the heaven from above. Okay? Achar b'chotichya, v'solchicha tavod. You will live by the sword. You will be subjugated to your brother. Now this. For your kashet torid v'forak du'ulam yaltzovarecha. What does this mean? Kashet torid. When you will, literally means go down. So if you take a look in Rashi, Loshen Tsar. See Rashi? When you will be pained. What does that mean when you will be pained? Orid b'sichi, kloimar, k'sheyavru Yisrael ala Torah. When the Jews will transgress the Torah, v'yelucha pischon pel itztair ala brochos, and you'll be justified to be pained that the brochos are not yours. Shenota, which he took, ufarakdula. Then you'll be able to cast off his yoke. When you'll be pained at the time when the Jews will violate the Torah, and you will have a justification for that pain, that you were denied the birthright, and then you'll be able to cast them off. What is this all about? You will be pained. Right now that you're pained, it's irrelevant you're pained. But if you're pained at a time when the Jews themselves are not worthy, then you'll be able to cast them off. And this is the Hakol Kol Yaakov Yadayim Be'esav. If the Jews are towing the line to Kol's Kol Yaakov, the hands will not be the hands of Esav. But if the Kol is not Yaakov, then Yadayim Be'esav. Then you will have the upper hand. What's this all about? Right? Now, why did Yaakov initially take the birthright from Esav? Because he says, because Esav's in Russia, it's disgraceful that he should be the birthright, have the birthright. Not that Yaakov wanted it for himself. But now that Yaakov begins behaving like Esav, what's the justification for the birthright? If the only reason why he took it was for Kovod Shemayim, that God's name should not be profaned. But now if you're profaning God's name, what relevance do you have? You have no relevance to the Bechorah. Automatically it reverts back to Esav. That's exactly why he's saying this now. Okay? Now, I asked the question in the past, not sure it was at this class. We find that Yaakov, after he took the birthright, he took the brachas from his father. Rivka, his mother, says to him, you better leave. Flee to my brother, because your brother is plotting and he will kill you. Okay? And he leaves. Now, when he crossed the Jordan, what did Yaakov cross the Jordan with? He crossed with just the shirt on his back and a walking stick. So the Chazal asked immediately, which Rashi cites later, if Eliezer Eved Avram, when he went to negotiate the hand of Rivka, he went with all this wealth, do you think Yaakov's parents sent him? Understanding Rivka understood who Lavan was. There's no way he's coming out of there unless he's going to negotiate with a large amount of wealth. So Yaakov was sent off with a tremendous amount of wealth. So what did Yaakov say? When he crossed the Jordan, he was stripped, only had the shirt on his back. So Rashi cites Chazal that Esav was aware that he fled and said he sent Eliphaz, his son, to kill Yaakov. He meets Yaakov and he says, I have to kill you. He says, why do you have to kill you? What do you have to kill me? Because there's a mitzvah, keep it off. I have to honor my father. My father commanded me to kill you. So he says to Eliphaz, but you learned under your grandfather's tutelage, Ani choshev kebes. A poor man is like a dead man. So by taking all my wealth, you fulfilled the wishes of your father. Eliphaz takes his wealth. And that's why he says, Ki b'makli avarti siyarti, hazer. So we ask the question, now Eliphaz gets back. So Eliphaz, Esav asks Eliphaz, did you do the job? No, it's like a mafia. Person's a hitman, comes back to the godfather, says, did you do the job? And he explains to him exactly how he did it. Lahavdil el Havdolos. So Esav says to Eliphaz, what happened? So he gives him a whole lumdisha pshetel. That, he told me that of course I studied under your father, our grandfather, Adi Choshka Mes, therefore I let him go. What should have Esav done at that moment? First, he should have probably broken every bone in Eliphaz's body. And then he should have gone to Lavan and killed Yaakov. Because he took the birthright. Why didn't he? Right, that's the question I asked. He knew exactly where Yaakov was. He should have gone to Lavan, and Lavan was his compatriot. They shared a lot in common, right? Later we find Bikesh Lavan Lakar Sakol. He wanted to kill Yaakov. So why, at this point, didn't Esav go to Aram Naraim to Choron and kill Yaakov? Right, that's the question we asked. Simple question. So we explained it this way, based on what we just said. Nobody knew Lavan better than Esav knew Lavan. Humanly, spiritually, you cannot survive the environment of Lavan. If you have wealth, you go and negotiate the deal, you leave immediately. But if you're going to be there for an extended period of time, it's just a question of time before you become a Lavan. You become a Russia. The moment Yaakov becomes the Russia, the birthright reverts immediately back to Esav. So Esav says, what do I have to kill him for? Time will do its job. And therefore, he was there for 20 years. 20 years he was at Lavan's. 20 years, impossible to survive. But he did survive. Why did he survive? Because when he was a Haramariah, Hashem gave him a bracha, and he asked, Ushmarticha, I will watch over you. It was only because he had special divine protection. That's why Lavan, his influence did not affect Yaakov as much as Iota. But if not for that, he couldn't have survived. So therefore, Esav believed there's no reason to go kill him for that reason. So what happened after 36 years? He's coming back. Vayishlach Yaakov Malochim, Lavan Garti v'Tag Mitzvah Shamarti. That's the message he gives him. I was Lavan. Despite that, I kept all the 613 mitzvahs. I did not learn from his evil ways as much as not at all. What is he here now? He's coming to war. He's coming with 400 men. Because now he understands the birthright is still Yaakov's. Yaakov did not forfeit the bracha, the birthright. He's going to war now. But until now, he believed there's no way you could have survived. And since the bracha was contingent on him to remain a tzaddik, and if he becomes like Esav, it no longer applies. Therefore, there's no reason to follow Yaakov to love him for that reason. That's